Ask me if I want to transition from biomed. Yes. Can I buy a Lamborghini? No. So if you 20k per annum is good for me, I can work on that. Hello there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alice. I'm a biomedical scientist here in the UK. Let's get right into it. In today's video, I'm just going to be talking about my opinions on some certain questions. You know, I've either heard from people or people have asked me in the DMs, or I've replied to people. And I think, let me put a disclaimer out there. This is my own opinion. This is things I've learned from experience, or things I've seen. Basically, I'm just going to be answering as real as I can. For anyone who wants answers there, don't take my word as the Bible, but I just hope my opinion or my perspective gives you another perspective. What kind of answer exactly do you want me to say? Because it's not something that I can put a word on. I can't tell you, oh, biomed is lucrative, you're going to be earning so amount of money. If you're going to do something, you don't obviously want to jump into anything without counting the cost. But another thing I also want to think about is, it's hard to tell you. It's not a yes or no answer. It's a very subjective answer. And if my goal in life is to buy a Lamborghini or to buy certain things and just say, oh, comparing just the money I'm going to get from biomed in my first 5 years, can I buy a Lamborghini? No. So if you ask me, oh, is biomed financially worth it, I will say no. Because as individuals, our lifestyle varies, our goals in life varies, what we count as important vary. For me, being financially stable might mean, oh, I have a roof over my head, I can eat 2 square meal, I don't even have to eat 3 square meal, I can eat 2 square meal. And to me, that's being financially comfortable. A job that can give me that, to me, is a financially comfortable job. Now, to another person, a comfortable job means that, oh, they have to be able to buy 3 square, they have to be able to eat 3 square English. They have to be able to eat 3 times a day. They have to be able to take vacations to the Bahamas every 2 or 3 months. There are certain things they will consider for a job to be financially comfortable for them. So if you ask those kind of 2 different people, one person will say yes, one person will say no, because their needs vary. Now, someone that is getting about 5 salary in London, and somebody that is in somewhere maybe that is like a city in the, maybe a northern city, like a very quiet small place that is not as big as London. The person in London can be earning more, but the person that is in the smaller city can be saving even up to 1,000 per month, which while the person in London is just trying to survive and maybe just barely able to pay in a shared apartment or something, and the person in the small city can be living large, have a 1-bed apartment, have certain things, have a car, for instance. Now, in that kind of case, obviously the person in London is earning more when you look at like the per annum salary. But the truth is that the person in London that is earning more is also spending like more than 80% of their salary on expense. When it comes to finance, there are a number of factors that you have to consider. Oh, somebody that does not have debt, or that does not have people to settle at home, or does not have siblings to cater for, will say, oh, 20k per annum is good for me, I can work on that. And another person that has like 5 extra mouths to feed will say that cannot do anything. So when you really ask me, is biomed a financially good choice? Honestly, I cannot answer that question, because the truth is, I can only say for me, and I think it would be very wrong if I am giving an answer that is very subjective to myself, to everybody that asks me, is biomed financially stable? I don't know where you're coming from, I don't know your background, I don't know your lifestyle, I don't know what your goal is. So honestly, I cannot give you a definitive answer. But the only thing I can advise is that you know yourself. Just look for the average salary. If you check Google, check for the average salary that you see in whatever place you're searching for, UK, Europe, Nigeria, and then ask yourself, would this work for me if I'm living in this city? Would this work for me if I start working? Do I have, like, at the end of the day, you're the only person that can say if a salary is worth it for you. Yes. If I say no, if I tell, sometimes when people ask me that question, I say, in my mind I'll be like, if I tell you no, you don't know whether my goal in life is to buy a jet. And then you say, oh, she already said no. I'm not going to do this job. So like I said, it's subjective. From experience right now, I've seen a lot of microbiology people, I've seen a lot of microbiology undergraduates that did an MSc biomedical science, hoping that they will maybe be able to go into the lab. And sometimes a couple of people are able to go into the lab, but they are not able to go into the lab as biomedical scientists. That is the honest truth. It's not that easy, because you need to plan it. That you need to sit down and really plan it. You need to sit down and count the cost if you are not a biomedical science graduate. That's the honest truth. But now, if there's a reason, if you know there's a reason why you want to actually do MSc biomedical science, go for it. You need to ask yourself, what is the reason? I think knowing the end goal of why you want to do a course will help you choose whether it's biomedical science or biotechnology. There are laboratory based roles that are not in the lab, in the clinical labs. Like outside the clinical labs, there are also other jobs. I think that there's always a lot of focus on BMS, but there are a lot of research roles. They are like people that are scientists, like they just have the title scientist. They are working as scientists without necessarily requiring to have the HCPC registration. This is something you should research, and this is something you should research basically. So if you did microbiology or you're a bioscience graduate and you're considering MSc biomedical science or MSc biotechnology, because I feel like those are the popular options people always make. Should I do biomedical science or biotechnology? The ball is in your court. But I think you should look at, if the thing is just about being in the lab, like you just want to work in a lab environment, I think there are other lab jobs you could search for and find lab jobs. So if you want to transition as an healthcare professional, I think the problem about transitioning is all healthcare professions are heavily regulated. Their regulation is tight. They are heavily regulated, and then I think there is no healthcare profession that you don't require a license. It's not so easy to transition like non-science. You see a lot of people that will say, "Oh, I did electrical engineering in my undergrad. Now I'm a project manager. Now I'm a something." All those like tech this thing. Transition in healthcare is not as easy as that is the truth. Honestly, if someone asks me if I want to transition from biomed, yes, eventually I want to transition from being a biomedical scientist. But I think I've also realized that the truth is that in transitioning in healthcare profession is not easy. You cannot just wake up and start applying for quality role or something like that. They will need you to either be licensed, they will need you to have a sort of experience, or like there will always be a kind of requirement, and these requirements are not things that you can stumble across. They are not things that you can say, "Oh, after work I'll just be taking like 1 hour to just do a course on Coursera, and once I get that certificate after 3 months I'll be able to apply for these roles." No, because if there's an easy way, please tell me. If you know an easy way, tell me, put it down in the comment section. But I think it's not the easiest. It's something that you have to gradually. A lot of people who transition in healthcare, 90% of people who transition in healthcare actually gradually pivot. I'm not saying now there are no exceptions. There are definitely exceptions, but then for the majority of people, they actually pivot like very, I don't want to say slowly, but then it's not as fast as how you see other people in other profession transition. Moving to any country is like a very big step, but put your leg in the water, take that first step, move forward first. Then when you come, you can figure out the steps. If you watch my previous video, I didn't get internship straight away. I worried about getting internship. NYC is another story on its own. But then obviously there are times I had worries, clarity, applications can be draining. But I don't think, even before coming to the UK, I don't think I ever had that fear of the fact that, I'll come here and I'll be stranded. I know my God. I know the God I serve. And I have so much confidence that he who has brought me this far will take me further. Like, he has good plans for me. So as a person, obviously I've been worried a couple of times when you're applying, you're like, ah, go that far now, man must eat. But I think every job I've ever gotten, in my job, every job I've ever gotten, I've just been confident that yes, God will do it. Like, I know my God, and I do my best. Whatever job I get, I make sure I do my best. Like, you're worried about not getting sponsor, come, put your leg in the water, just come. You know, when people are saying, oh, statistics say, and all that kind of thing. Now let me ask you a question. Do you know how many road accidents happen? Do you know how many air accidents happen? Even people that sleep every night and don't, that the statistics of people that go to bed every night and don't wake up. Now, will you say, because I heard somebody slept yesterday and did not wake up, this night I'm not sleeping? You're going to, okay, I'm going to open my eyes and I'm not going to sleep, take coffee. Okay, you say, oh, sleep is a natural phenomenon, Alice, you cannot stop that. Don't you use transportation? I don't think there's any transportation mode that is safe. There are accidents every time, but still, you still enter a bus. If you're so confident in those kind of things, everything in life is a risk. So you saying, oh, you don't want to come here because you are scared about getting a sponsorship job. Come on, people are getting sponsorship. You will get sponsorship. I know the UK immigration is like water. It changes. Like, the UK immigration laws change like, tell yourself like, if people are getting this job, if people are getting sponsored, I will get sponsored. All I need to know is, how are those people doing it? How are those people figuring it out? My point is, you get a sponsored job. Take the first step. Come. If you're not in the UK yet, come. If you're in the UK, start applying for jobs. There's one thing I used to do. I've not advised it, but I can advise it. I think for most of the job application, for every job application that I sat down, and took my time to apply for, I imagined myself in that role. That's one thing about me. Like, I don't know, it had just worked for me. And that does not mean like I'd gotten interviews for everything. If I count how many interviews I've probably gotten, I've gotten like maybe roughly around 10 interviews, and I've passed, let's say, roughly 4 or 5 out of those interviews. But then that does not mean if I sit down and spend hours, there are applications I obviously just, did copy and paste and send. Those ones, they didn't used to pay me. They called me for interview. I didn't spend so much time. But for those ones that I sat down and actually intentionally crafted stuffs and sent, in fact, I researched the place. I researched, oh, this is the cost of living. What is the accommodation like? What is the environment like? When they've not even called me for an interview, because I'm telling myself, as I'm applying for this job, I'm going to get the interview. Whether or not I get the interview, we'll figure out that later. But at that point where I'm applying with the confidence that I'm going to get it. And I'm figuring out, oh, what do I need to do to get this job? What do I need to do to be the best candidate? Anyway, like I said. So yes, if you believe you can do it, you can do it. You can get a job. It might not look, the journey might look so, trust me, there are some days you're like, God, alpha. And obviously we are humans, we have emotions. There are days you just be like, I don't want to apply again. Is it only me? Only me on track 100 and something, 500 and something. But you have to remember, you have to just keep going. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to, feel like, oh God, I'm going to take a 2 weeks break off. But the thing is, don't stop. You're going to get there eventually. The other way I could have come to the UK is obviously getting a job. But the easiest way for me to have come to the UK or to be in the UK was actually by doing my master's. And that was like an easier entry. Now, it's a master's degree plus, definitely, because the certificate is in my name. In the future, if they ask me, do I have a master's degree, I have a certificate to show for it, and obviously I have the knowledge I gained from the master's to show for it. But then doing a master's degree in the UK, does it necessarily give me an edge? It will give you a lift. I will not say it will give you an edge, but then you need more than a master's obviously to get a job. You can have a master's degree. They will not just say, oh, this person has a master's degree, except probably in you're applying for a job and then maybe you're like the only person that has a master's degree, or one of the criteria they're using to actually shortlist is a master's degree. That can help you in a case where a lot of people are not doing a master's degree. But here in the UK, for example, most diasporan countries, a lot of international students are actually coming like for school. So meaning that 90% of the people that are actually applying for jobs are people like you who came in through the master's route. So definitely have a qualification. So yes, a master's is important. Obviously, compared to a couple of years before, a master's does not carry as much weight as it does. Like a master's meant more than it actually means now. But then if it is a way for you to come to the UK, yes, do it. So the chances of you being able to actually migrate by educational purposes, whether it's a master's, whether it's a PhD, is actually higher than the chances of you being able to get a proper job to immigrate. Now, I'm not saying people don't get jobs and just migrate directly, but then the chances, like if you're comparing percentage, being able to migrate by the educational route is way higher than being able to migrate getting a job, like through the job process. Sorry for the talk. My name is Alice. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment till I come away in another video.